is just fantastic.
On December the 25th, I made a little Christmas message, right? And I said in 2024 I was going to make more of an effort. Here we are on January the 3rd, I think, when this goes out. Clearly doing fantastic. I have an excuse. I have headaches. I think it's a post-moistmus burnout. Now, a topic was mentioned to me on Twitch. Now, I don't actually have the images itself, but someone else does because they covered it. But I feel it only right to cover it here as well because we've been making it a point to cover when the information comes to light, updates on certain creators. So I guess this is a doubly lazy video, and I'm very sorry about that. This headache thing is quite aggravating. Obviously, we're going to talk about Iilluminaughtii. We have to, because while she's busy lol-suiting others, she herself is getting into trouble because she keeps effing around, so of course she's going to keep finding out. And I don't quite understand what the end game here really is, because she's finding out to the point where her arrogance, her pride, I guess that's the correct word, it is one of the 7 deadly sins, I believe, is going to cost her. There is no rebuild here that will be successful. The days of hundreds of thousands of views guaranteed on every upload are gone. Into the territory of the oikari like myself, you are falling. Yet you are so set in your ways, so self-righteous, so zealotry-ish, like, kinda. It's a real moment situation type deal. That you cannot see beyond your smug to perceive the bigger picture, which would involve you being a, well, not respected, but meh as a creator, a chance to rebuild as most have done over the years. In December I mentioned Without a Crystal Ball did that, rebuilt and moved on, and has prospered since. Other creators have done the same. Hit with a big enough controversy, how you handle it is a testament to your character. But as I pointed out in multiple videos, Iilluminaughtie's character is really crap. Like an actually crap person. I guess what sucks really for Iilluminaughtii is it's not a character. Some people can't maintain consistency, can they? I've discovered over the years the vast majority of creators I've engaged with are snakes. There are very few I willingly want to talk to. I like talking to Cog because he's very honest and upfront. I like talking to Sinatra because he likes whiskey. So do I. There are a few other creators, but not many. Just because snakery. And Iilluminaughtii is a demonstration of that. And how the shift in public perception will not give her a positive outcome in the future unless a drastic change happened now. But she's not seeking a drastic change, so I guess it's not a surprise. And this is a massive segue from what's happened. While she is suing other creators and trying to cause them a world of trouble, which I keenly await the outcome of, she herself has gotten into trouble, legally. Oh no, what a shame. And I know I say this with a level of obvious sarcasm. I know sometimes it's hard to tell, but let's face it, whereas in the past I have shown a level of compassion and desire to want every creator to succeed, I genuinely felt that way. I feel it only right to say in 2024 I no longer feel this way about a considerable number of creators who have started their year off strong by making poor decisions. Iilluminaughtii hasn't changed course. Why should I continue to persist with my belief of reformation and then reconciliation with the lost audience? In my last video, a Where Are They Now on Iilluminaughtii, I showed the Social Blade numbers, and I'm tempted to do it now just to demonstrate how those glorious numbers are just continuing to nosedive. Maybe later. So Madcatster has acquired some rather interesting... Oh, okay, hi. Is my nose that delicious? Good kitty. You're not going to say hi though, are you? No? Okay. Sorry for the random cat break, folks. If you're not already, you should subscribe to the Madcatster YouTube channel. The guy gets a hold of all the legal stuff, and I'm quite jealous this guy has the ability to do that, because he managed to raise awareness to the fact that Blair, aka Iilluminaughtii, owes tax. We can insert the obligatory taxation as theft if you'd like, but it turns out Blair's owed tax for 2 years. 2 separate years anyway, and it's over $20,000. It gets worse really, but we'll get to why in a moment. This will go so far as to explain why she's been trying to make Ozmedia's life an absolute hell, why she thinks she can seek damages because if she got any, it would pay her taxes off, because there's no way a GoFundMe would work for her now, nor would any kind of fundraiser on YouTube, because if she did one solely to pay off her taxes, people would tell her, get a job. I'll tell you, get a sodding job. Why? Because you've lost your career. You destroyed it by being a crappy person. Also, owing 20,000+ in taxes would indicate you have a reasonable turnover. What on earth have you done with your assets? Insert obligatory, but I pay for a team here if you like. Paying them just enough to get by when we know, courtesy of my Where Are They Now, that you were claiming to be making for yourself about $600 a month so you could pay your team would indicate you were not taking responsibility for the taxes you had to pay. You should have relieved some of your researchers of their duties to pay your adulting responsibilities. The fact that the state has gotten involved tells me that they, were alerted to this, even more so because of your lawsuit. Now we know your motivation, and their motivation is, while we're here, 2 birds, 1 stone. Any damages, we'll take it. If Blair is smart, Blair will have assets. But if Blair doesn't pay her taxes, she'll start to lose those assets. On the 7th of July 2023, the principal amount or judgment transaction was $26,796. Highlighted in green, it shows that this is unsatisfied, and it comes from the creditor, the Colorado Department of Revenue. Generally, when it comes to tax, even if it is theft for many, the one group of people you don't want to piss off are those that collect the taxes, the tithes. Why? Because they seem to have powers that go above others. Many of us, our freedoms are certainly encroached upon when they raid our bank accounts to take what they believe is owed to them. In this instance, you have the filing period and the period balance highlighted in green above the $26,796, and it increases each year. That's a lot of money owed from 3 separate tax years, and it can be argued during those years, those were years when Blair was at her peak, as it were. 2023 certainly wasn't it, and this, predates that. In fact, when this principal amount owed was declared, she was still riding relatively high-ish. Okay, she just hit her fall, but at that point, you would have thought she might have considered paying it off. I've heard of a large number of creators of late who don't pay their taxes on time. I don't understand it personally. I file mine on time, I pay it straight away, because I know HMRC will absolutely seize control of all my accounts, take all of it, and then find me on top of it. I don't make the levels of money that Blair used to make, so a level of responsibility is vitally important. You can claim ignorance if you like, but still, nearly $27,000 owed. You'll be lucky if you make that in a year now, by which point you'll then have to pay your next tax bill from that, barely made $27,000. Now you would think Blair would pay this off, get it gone, deal with it, less chance of any legal problems further down the road. Perhaps a bailiff of some kind, yeah? Well, on the 5th of December, it wasn't. She failed to make payments on the account, so there is an amount claimed from Blair of $3,600 accumulated interest and costs. One thing I didn't know was predecessor and interest. Thankfully, Mad Catz to confirm that meant that somebody else had this debt. So I would assume it was passed off to another company to try and claim this money back. In this, the first creditor, or the person who owned the debt, was Wayfair. Didn't I buy a footstool from them? Now to quickly go back and highlight this $3,600 thing. This would indicate that I was right in my Where Are They Now, when Blair had stated that she was taking $600 a month to get by to pay her staff, and that she herself was not making enough money to go by. And I can actually back this up even further. You see, during the month of December, she got 750,000 views. Her videos aren't overly long, so she could have made anywhere between $1,400 and close to $5,000. That's not a joke. Is that enough to get by on, though, if she has staff to pay? No, it is not. Cost of living is vitally important depending on the state that one resides in. Typically in the state of Colorado, a single person's cost of living is $2,000. But if you're paying legal fees to try and sue other people, if you're trying to pay your staff as well, chances are you're living beyond your means and haven't recalibrated even, to adjust for the loss of vital income. Now I have a minor query here because part was owed tax The other debt was Wayfair, that was then sold to another company, to another company, to another company, to another company, to another company. And that's not a joke. It's actually what happened. This would indicate that Blair accumulated debt through Wayfair, or a card with Wayfair, through Genesis? Yes. And it then was bought because it wasn't resolved by other companies, because apparently, and we had this facility in the United Kingdom, I'm guessing it's not a thing in Colorado, called a debt management plan, where you agree terms with your creditors to pay back over a period of time. It sounds very un-American, so that's why I'm querying this. No offense to those that are American, but you know what I mean. You're quite reactive. We Brits are just really indecisive. And just to show you, this debt had exchanged hands a number of times over many years. In fact, it accumulated. It was owned by Genesis, sold to Brightwater, sold to BW34, sold to Island-wide Consulting Group, and then sold to Peppertree, and finally to Marshall Recovering, who have it now. This is stupid. The debt exchanging hands multiple times because the debt had not been resolved. We all here love to use credit when it's available, don't we? But we've all had to, from time to time, pay it off and hated every moment of it. Back before I was on YouTube, I did this, and it hurt me financially quite badly, in fact. But a lesson was learnt very quickly, and once I started making inroads on YouTube, I got smirked. To accumulate debt over and over again, refusing to pay it, causing yourself more legal problems as if the tax wasn't bad enough, only sets you up for an even bigger fall away from YouTube anyway. And if you don't pay off the principal amount, then the interest is just going to get worse, isn't it? And based on what these debt buyers do, it would be wise for Blair to pay it off sooner, because these buyers are doing it solely because they want to make as much from it as they can. That debt is their profit after all. And if they get a judgment, which they will, it's only going to harm your credit rating, it's only going to harm you monetarily. You will lose, physically lose, a number of assets if you must, and this could in turn harm your business if they seize things like computers, or the copious amounts of low-grade gin you require to sleep at night. I would surmise Gordon's, that pink one no doubt. Whiskey Superior, get good. Now in Mad Catster's video he queries whether or not this is worth going to court. I actually think it is, because it has been debt that has been accumulating over a number of years. If you don't pay it off after X number of months or years, to be honest, this should be escalated, and it has been sold multiple times to multiple different creditors, trying to reclaim what is owed. Why a bailiff hadn't been used sooner, I'd assume this is a state level thing, I don't understand. In my country, if it goes longer than a year, I promise you, action is taken. And there is no fuss, no muss. While we're an indecisive nation as a whole, and we're very patient when it comes to ensuring debt is paid, we, for some reason, are very quick to act. If it's money owed to HMRC, it is expedited, especially if you're low income, because you must be punished. How dare you not pay your taxes when you're low income? In the case of Blair, though, she's made a lot of money over the years. Surely she had. And this kind of reeks of patience ran out.